Pocho1. We are in the building with a legendary guest, DJ EFN, co-host of Drink Champs. Thank you, my boy, for stopping by.
No, my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, I don't know. We don't got too much time, so I just want to get into it, my boy. So instead of getting into all that, I want to get into, a little context. I was on the radio. I had the most popular show, basically, in my area. I couldn't be myself. And so because of that, I left the radio station. And it wasn't necessarily, like, we're still on good terms. And it wasn't necessarily that they did anything wrong to me, but I just couldn't be myself. And basically I left, and then I created my own lane. And I was sitting around kind of feeling bad for myself. And because I was like, I made it kind of, I had a show, I was getting paid.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
And Raza, there's not that much, space for Raza and hip hop and all that. And so I was feeling sorry for myself, bro. And I'm sitting at the home watching YouTube, you know what I mean? And boom, Drink Champs pops up. And I've been watching you guys since day one when you guys were in the hotel, with what's his face with Fat Joe.
That was in my old office, and it was an apartment building in downtown Miami. And I was doing a show for Dash Radio already. And so that's where we did the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, man. And anyway, so it just inspired me, and I still didn't do nothing yet. But then I started, and people were like, why don't you change your name? Because it's on my Instagram, it's the Pocho Live Show. And that was my radio name because we go live. But then I was like, well, the Pocho Live Show, I can go live and get to know people. So I started doing that, and I built a platform pretty much, in the pandemic, basically. Like out of nowhere, I wasn't even planning to. And I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for what you have done, because seeing you as Raza, and I know Nori's half Raza and all that, but it looks like we look, like you could be my cousin or my uncle or whatever. And so like to see you in that high of a space was so inspiring to, and it sounds cheesy, but I was like, if that vato can do it, beard gang, I can do it too.
100%, brother. Yeah, man. No, thank you, man. And that's all I could hope to do is, man, if I could inspire anybody, man, that's that's the goal.
Yeah. So first off, I'm somebody that produces too and kind of catches talent. So what did you see in Nori to bring him down to Miami?
Well, no, I mean, that's it. He came down to Miami kind of on his own. I mean, it's a long story with us, because it starts off when he's on his promo run for the Capone Noriega album in like late '97. I had a store. I was a mixtape DJ. And he came into town, and the way that it worked back then, the promo runs, they would bring you to any of the hip hop stores or the music stores to promote if you were doing a party or a concert. So he came by, and I was also the mixtape dude. So he had to, like, it's like the radio out here wasn't really playing hip hop. So a lot of these artists were messing with the mixtape guys or the underground radio guys, which I was both. And that's how we linked. And we did a lot of stuff in terms of, like, my crew and me were like his dudes in Miami repping for his team and his crew. We just clicked, man. It was, we were family. And eventually he decided he wanted to leave New York and he was going to move to Miami after his reggaeton album. And he moved to Miami, and he moved into the area where I'm from, which is in South Miami, an area called Kendall. And I was like, look, bro, like, he had just finished doing reggaeton. He knew that I wasn't really into reggaeton like that. I was just a diehard hip hop head. And he's like, yo, E, bring me back to hip hop. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically kind of what he said. And I had him in my studio 24/7. And that was like kind of like the birth of everything in terms of, like, Drink Champs was born around that same time. The name, we started doing Sirius XM radio around that time, which was not Drink Champs. But at the same time, the name Drink Champs was a thing that was being said in my offices, in my studio with my crew. And so, like, it all just starts from there, And that's like 2005, 6, around there.
Yeah, man. And I just think that, like, how do you feel about the space, the podcast space, as opposed to the radio space? Because I feel like what you all did was you made me feel like I was right there with you, bro. Like, Nori is a bigger than life kind of character. And I'm a professional photographer. I actually been around him before. But, I'm the type not to get in, I just do my thing and fly on the wall. And it's like you feel like you're in there, you're right there next to each other having a conversation. Do you feel like podcast is basically the future? And do you feel like there's any more space for radio?
I mean, I think it's all meshing together. It's all kind of becoming digital content. for lack of a better term. And like for me personally, I was, I was an underground dude, a mixtape dude, pirate radio dude. I never saw myself. Yeah, it would have been cool to get like a radio show and do mix show and when I was younger, but as soon as I figured out that, you had to answer the PDs and MDs and they programmed, you had to play what they told you and you
Yeah,
couldn't really
bro.
break records and you couldn't put on local acts. I was like, nah, it ain't for me, man. Like I was just too rebellious and I like doing my own thing. And that's what mixtapes was perfect for me. So radio just wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like a corporate structure, especially when it moved on and then these corporations started buying up all the stations around the country and kind of making them like this one monolithic thing where like each region couldn't even sound like itself anymore,
Yeah, no,
so
they,
yeah, I
I
think in that sense podcasting is what's sorry in that sense podcasting is dope because you could do whatever you want in podcasting, however you want, whenever you want, however long, however short, and that's what's dope about it.
yeah, yeah, no, no, for sure. And how do you like? Are you aware of the space that you're holding, like as a Latino man?
um
'Cause there's a gang of us, homie, that are looking at right at you, homie.
oh,
Like,
that's dope. I mean, I don't. I mean, what's the words I want to use, man? Like, I respect what I represent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna abuse it or I'm careful with it because I know what I represent. But I don't try to really look at myself like, oh, I represent this big old thing to a bunch of people because then it kind of undermines me. And at the same token, man, it doesn't do me any justice, man. I'm like, let me just do what I do. And if people fuck with me, they fuck with me. If they don't fuck with me, they don't fuck with me. But I'm gonna be me through in and throughout, like no matter what. You know what I'm saying? People, when I was early on, you're too Latino, you're not enough Latino, you're this, you're not repping all Latinos. It's like, yo, bro, I'm gonna do me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm a rep. Like I'm repping no matter what.
yeah, I mean, I think they can put you in a box, but they can't though, right? Because if you're doing what you're doing, it can't be held in. But it's just like to see. I just thought it, like I've been in the west, at least the west side or the west coast
Mhm.
music scene for as a professional photographer working for radio stations, as a career for over 12 years now, and I don't know, bro. I feel like Raza doesn't get taken as serious when it comes to the rap game. I don't know if you see
It's
that
true.
or
No, no,
if
no.
it's harder for us.
Absolutely, man. It is, and it's something that I've always, pushed and fought for, and try to, showcase and acknowledge the pioneers that represented. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, no one can tell me about Latinos and their position and what we've contributed and how we are a part of the birth of the culture. You know, um, there's no debating it. I mean, it's documented, like you see it. So, and then what we've done since and what we're doing now, which is evolutionizing the music and doing even more, I think, inadvertently to hip hop for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? For hip hop artists.
Yeah, I mean, I think now we're starting to, because like basically what I got inspired by is by a couple people, but I was like Adam 22 and those guys were cool, and no disrespect to them, but they're not really checking for raza that much, and it's not their
Right.
fault. It's not really their place to. I don't, so instead of complaining about them, I created a platform where I'm usually interviewing. Most of the people I interview is their first interview ever. I call it the Trapcast, the
Right.
Pocho1, but the Trapcast because I'm trapping these interviews, with guys that never been interviewed that are coming right off the street.
Dope.
But I want to give them a platform because I used to gangbang. I'm a norteño, and so I had a big experience where Sereno saved my life, and that made
Wow.
me, yeah. And I lived with them. I worked at the place called Homeboy Industries, and I was the photographer for a bunch of Southsiders, and I'm a northerner, bro, from Northern Cali.
Yeah.
But I came in as a professional, and they got me sober, and they inspired me, And so what I want to do is be like not big homie you, but be
Right.
big homie I always needed, and I should have been for my, because I brought a lot, because I used to like be able to get girls and all these things. So I brought a lot of homies into my gang, and then I moved to LA and like started a new life. And so I
Right.
wanted to come back. Now I'm back in my hometown, helping my community, and I created this platform that I have now because I want to talk to kind of like G's, OGs, kind of not. I mean, I hate to OG it, but like fools that got Klecha, got game for the next
Right.
generation, and then the youngsters. When you interview a young man, bro, and you're saying you matter, you matter, and I want to
Right.
know about you, and I see you, and so I want to keep seeing these youngsters, bro, and the more we have people like you at levels that you're at with the blue check and with your friends, the friends you guys have, the more we can, slowly climb that ladder, with you. And I appreciate you again for even taking this, this interview.
No, no, and I commend you, man, because what you're saying is extremely important. We've talked about it in terms of when it comes to the rap game and hip hop, and where I feel like the OGs, we didn't take that role. Like I say, like we, as in terms of my generation and in the music side of things, like we thought we were gonna be YGs forever. You know what I'm saying? So we stopped, looking at ourselves as someone that might have to pass on this knowledge or be an example to a future generation. And I think that's important, man. And just a little bit you told me is amazing, and I think that you should be commended as well, man.
No, I appreciate it. But nah, so what I got pumped of it was when Nori was saying, he's like, there's interviews for the youngers and all that, right? But we need to interview the OGs. And like I
Hmm.
feel like you guys singly, like in the last couple of years, saved hip hop in the sense of all what I grew up on. I'm 38, right? So I grew up
Right,
in the 90s, but I'm a little bit younger, but I was hanging out with older people. So
right, right,
I was
right,
listening. I mean, I'm from the West Coast. We did have a West Coast kind of vibe. I didn't listen to too much, but I knew who Nori was totally. You know what I mean? And then just how you guys kick it, like that familia vibe that you have. Like I think we need to see more images of that, of black and brown people, and even the mix of raza that can
all
be
over.
black,
Yeah, we
that
got
can be all the
Dominicans, Peruvians, we got Haitians, we got Jamaicans, Colombians. Nah, it's that's what I love, man. I've always loved that, man. And I think, yeah, you're right, man. That's what makes us special.
Yeah, man, and I think it's also because a lot of them also are people that Nori knew for a long time. Like I have close friends that I've known before we started gangbanging, like when we were 4 years old, and then we gangbanged, and then now we have families and stuff,
Right.
and they're still my friends. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I'm just trying to put on. How do you deal with kind of any kind of negative energy? Kind of, I know that people in the beginning were not, necessarily like, what are you talking, and but you guys
Right.
kept going, and look at you guys, now it's bigger than ever, right? I mean,
I mean, me talking for myself, when I was younger, I was a hard head, and I mean, just the name of my crew, Crazy Hood, and Who's Crazy was our slogan. Like, we were like hard heads trying to like make a name for ourselves, macho shit. But as time went on, man, I tried to shed all of that because it just doesn't get you anywhere in the long run. And I just don't pay attention to negative shit. As long as I can, if I got something to do with it, if I could just turn away from it, or if it's some crap online, like also the generation that we're from, I try to remember, like, yo, I'm from a generation where if you got beef, you deal with it in the street, like you do it in person. You don't do it online. Like that doesn't happen. So why am I gonna like reciprocate someone trying me online? Like that's corny. So I just don't deal with that. And luckily, man, I feel very lucky that I really don't get too much. At least I don't see it. I don't see as much hate. I know it's out there, but I don't. It doesn't really come across to me that much. And for that, I appreciate it, and I just don't deal with it if it does come across.
cool. Yeah, and how did because I don't know if this is true, but it feels like you're all up in the mix when you're in terms of doing all of this, what you all are doing.
Hmm.
Uh, how do you navigate these waters, bro? Because they get the music, right? The music industry is a shark, shark. It's
Yeah,
predatory. It's crazy. It's off the hook. It's how many followers connect to this. There's oh god,
yeah.
it can get cynical. How do you make like if any game for the youngsters coming up that want to kind of DJ produce? Because in my sense, producing is where it's at, bro. Because you get the whole thing. You can do anything in producing. You can DJ, you can
Right.
rap, you can do everything, and you can connect everybody. And that's what I do. I try to connect people.
I would say just be realistic about your goals and then set goals and try to be as self-sufficient as possible. Like don't be like, A, don't blame, well, if I had this and if I had that, I could do A, B, and C. Like, nah, especially not now with the technology. Like you could do everything on your own if you really, really want to. So, if you have homies and you can create a team, cool. Create that team. Make sure you trust these people, you know, and just have set your goals and don't stop. Like just be consistent. Like some people think you got to come in hard and fast, but nah, like if it's gonna wear you out or you're gonna burn out quick, then don't do it that way. Like set some goals, long-term goals, short-term goals, and organize yourself and do campaigns and say, well, if I'm a producer, I want to make sure I get with, I'm gonna do 5 placements in 6 months, and it's gonna be, three of them are gonna be local cats that I know is gonna be kind of easy to do, but I'm gonna make sure that the most talented local cats, and two, I'm gonna make sure it's something bigger, and I'm gonna be consistent and persistent until I get to that goal. And nowadays, bro, you can communicate with almost anybody, but it's all about being like I've always talked about this thing called polite persistence. Like you could keep hitting people up as long as you polite about it, like the way you come across respectful, you know. And until that person shuts you down, like says, "Nah, I can't, I'm not gonna do it," and they're gonna be respectful, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? Like, "Nah, sorry, I can't help you," or they block you or something. Then keep at it, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's in person, whether it's online, or whatever. Like, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Just be respectful, and if they don't respond to it, don't take it personal because later on you might come across that person too. Like some people will burn the bridge, like, oh well, fuck you then, homie. You don't want to talk to me. Oh, you think you too? Nah, man, that ain't the business, And I learned a lot of that stuff too from Pitbull, dealing with Pitbull, who's the younger dude to me, who I was putting on mixtapes when I was the mixtape guy, and he was the young guy trying to come up. But I learned from him because a lot of people didn't believe in him and his come up, and instead of him taking it personal. And then, because he was relentless. But when he finally blew, like really blew, instead of taking it personal, all these people that he knew kind of didn't believe in him, he actually came back and doubled down on being even extra like nice to them and giving them more. If they were radio cats, more drops, more freestyles for them. And you think that those people turn to the biggest Pitbull fans in the world after that. So I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff to take in. I don't know if any of all that together makes sense, but it's just, to me, polite persistence and consistency, man. Be consistent. A lot of people just give up, or they're not consistent, and they do something today, wait 4 months, do something 4 months, and then they're like, why isn't this working?
Yeah.
Nah, man, you got to be consistent.
Yeah, bro. I mean, Rome wasn't built overnight, and like even
Right.
if you think about like Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world, it took him, and he wasn't necessarily trying to get here, but maybe he was, but it took him 10 years to get that $100 million deal,
Absolutely.
at least. And cool thing about him is he first started it in his house, like I'm starting, and now we have offices, and I'm gonna start kind of mixing up, doing some in person stuff. But even like you were saying, people were telling me, "Hey, do all that." I was like, "No, no, let me just see if this is even something first, let's just relax," because I have people that I want to start producing me now, and I'm like, let me just do this trap thing in the house for a little bit, like Joe Rogan did, and keep it authentic. And if it grows, if people start feeling, then I'll go with it, and I'll go hard too. But I don't want to like force something down people's throats, like
Right.
I'm like that. Even with the interview, he's like, "Oh, you can do it," like, I was like, "Yeah, man, it's cool, bro. Like, I don't trip, man. It's an honor for me. I mean, I can wait as long as I need to. I mean, if you need to stand in line for a little longer, then like who are you to not stand in line? You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I basically try to carry myself like I did in the streets, very like respectful. If something
Right.
backs off, we got to figure it out. But if not, I always start with so much respect, so then I don't really get any of the negativity that much.
And the thing about carrying yourself that way, it makes it very easy to like because what happens is if you all over the place and then there's blurry lines when it comes to respect. When you carry yourself a certain way and someone doesn't, they disrespect you, it's just like you already know, like, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, not no blurry line, like maybe they didn't understand, maybe this, then that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate, like, to me, it's like I like everything to be crystal clear. I like transparency because I don't want no one, trying to be confused by my intentions. And that way, if something goes wrong, either I screwed up or they screwed up. Somebody screwed up, but it wasn't a miscommunication. It was very clear. And then you can handle it accordingly at that point because it was very clear.
Oh yeah, bro. And then like even if something goes wrong, like somebody else will speak for me, like, "Oh, Pocho don't get down like that. What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? Like, they'll
Right.
speak for you. You don't even got to speak for yourself.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
that's, you feel like starting to, because I used to have like a little bit of anger and ego and all this when I was a little bit younger, and I've let go a lot of that through
All
life.
of it.
Life will humble you,
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
In the last little bit, because I'm really about being respectful of time. Um, one thing I just wanted to touch on are just any feelings you have about Cuba or Venezuela or what's going on in those countries.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously I'm Cuban, of Cuban heritage. And this hits home for me. And I mean, I just when it comes to Cuba specifically, I'm excited, but I'm watching carefully. I got people on the island that I'm communicating with, artists, as a matter of fact, and they're telling me that people are getting plugged out of their, pulled out of their houses, and And even the artists that are talking to me, like, I might get pulled out of the house anytime now. And but it's exciting because it's the first time in modern history since the revolution that the Cuban people have risen up all at once on their own, with no influence necessarily to against the government, and for their freedom. So as a Cuban, that's exciting, and I feel like we need to do what we can as Cuban Americans. um but I mean, at the same time, I want it to be their movement. I don't think it should be a political thing on the US side. It shouldn't be Democrats, Republicans. It shouldn't be, us, let's go over there, and no, let's support them. But let's just make sure, like, my whole thing is like, let's make sure as a internet that we bring awareness to the international community and protect the Cuban people because they're unarmed. What people don't understand is that this island is completely unarmed. It's not like a couple other movements where the population has guns or access to them. This island was disarmed when Castro came into power, so they're completely unarmed and unable to defend themselves. So if the government cracks down, it's going to be, and they are cracking down, it could get really ugly. So that's all I want, is for the international community to keep the Cuban people safe while they try to get their freedom. And the same thing with Venezuela, man. Venezuela's it's a different monster altogether. They are armed over there. There's all kinds of different factions, but again, when it comes to understanding the socialism and communism and everything that comes with it, you just want freedom for everybody. And this goes across the board, man. Like, I tell my Cuban people here, like, let's not be hypocrites, man. Let's want freedom for everybody. Let's want freedom from oppression. Let's want liberty for everybody. Whether it's in Cuba, Venezuela, Colombia, whether it's people crossing the border in Mexico to the United States, whether it's people in the hood in Minneapolis, suffering at police brutality, wherever the fuck it is. Let's not be hypocrites to that shit. Let's want the same for everybody across the board.
Yeah, man. If we're not all free, nobody's free. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
Communism, socialism, capitalism. I remember at a time I was really into socialism, all these different things, but I've learned now in the older I get, not to be a conservative, or they say you get more conservative the older you get, but more to just be open-minded. Like,
open-minded, yeah.
There's good things about capitalism, there's good things about socialism, good things about communism, but when man gets involved, it can get different, right? So it's like, stop,
right.
It's not about in all these terms and red or blue or this or that. It's about humanity, bro, and that these people deserve to have self-determination. You know what I mean?
Right. And just have your own fucking mind, like,
exactly,
like, I hate when people just go to one side of the political spectrum and then that's it. Like, yeah, like you said, like, bro, I could be conservative on some things, I could be liberal on other things. You know what I'm saying? I could understand the romanticism with socialism, because, hey, look, we have Social Security, we have socialism in the United States too. People don't really get that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to like diehard socialist, communist type governments, it doesn't work for humans. Like, we have ambitions, we want to do things in life.
Yeah, we're really competitive.
Those things become dictatorships, and the people that claim that that's what they're doing in their country, the government is all, they got money, their families got, are well off, while the people are starving. And so
you can look at China, you know what I mean?
Right.
All right, we're in the last couple of minutes, man. I also became a father in the last couple of years.
Dope. Congrats, man.
Thank you, and congrats. I was around when I had a girl, and and you just had a girl and boy now?
My daughter's 3, my son is 1.
Nice, bro. So one thing about me is my parents kind of we had a bunch of kids, but they started kind of later in life. I grew up in where homies were having kids at 15, 16 years old, but I never wanted that in my life. My father told me, son, have your own life. Like, he's like, he had 5 kids. He's like, I didn't start having kids till I was 35 because I wanted a full life. I was selfish, but I also wanted to give you something. And if I was 19, I wouldn't have nothing to give you. So, how is fatherhood, on this side of the age that we kind of are?
Right.
And I personally, I love it because I have more. I don't drink anymore. That's why it's funny that I love Drink Champs. I don't drink, but I smoke. But like, I'm very focused on her, bro, and I'm really appreciating it. How is fatherhood? Kind of, because how Nori was like, I didn't even know if you could have kids. He's joking with you, because literally I watched every show, bro. So how does it feel to kind of start? How's fatherhood for you, bro?
Well, I waited purposefully, like same as you. My homies were having kids at young ages. My god kids are 24 and 23 years old, and I knew I was ambitious and what I wanted to do. I wasn't gonna, having kids wouldn't have been right. And because I wanted to be a father, I wanted to really, take care of my children. I was like, oh, it ain't the right time when I was younger. And mentally, I wasn't in the right mental space. So, fast forward, I have my kids now, and it's changed everything, man. It's changed the game. Like imagine I started Drink Champs with, not being a father, and halfway in, I'm a father all of a sudden. So for me, fatherhood is everything to me, man. It like I said, it changed everything. My life isn't my life anymore. It's my children's life. It's all about making their lives better. Like everything I do is revolved around legacy, around making sure that they have a better life than I had, and they have at least more opportunity to do whatever they want versus the things that I had to go through or whatever. And that's what it's always about, man. It's just providing a better life to your kids than you even had.
Hell yeah, bro. And I just felt like I would have messed them up. I was drinking I quit drinking at 30, and I fell off. Like I had to go to rehab, and like
Right.
I burned a lot of bridges. I used to go all over the world with Bruno Mars and Lindsay Lohan and just like all these top celebrities. As I don't know if you started noticing, like when social media came around, they started having little social media teams
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a lot of money out of that, but it also kind of
Wow.
I saw 27 countries in the matter of like 2-3 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was dope, bro. But it also landed me in rehab at the end of it.
Yeah, man. And this industry, man, it's it's drug induced, alcohol induced to like deal with all these people that it's a fake world, and you're dealing with them. So you gotta like kind of you gotta get yourself inebriated for it. And look, man, I do Drink Champs, but at the end of the day, like I come from a broken home where I was raised by my mom, but my father was a Vietnam veteran. He was an alcoholic. And so I come with that baggage where I'm always like weary of that and nervous about, because they say that can, that can be inherited, in
Oh
some
yeah,
kind of way.
I got it from my father. I know I did.
Yeah.
I have alcoholic blood on both sides.
So I've always had these rules, not to say that it's any better, but I made these rules in my life, of not drinking alone and not drinking, well, alone was always a thing when I was single, and I try not to drink at home, unless it's special occasions, because I drink so much already on Drink Champs. There's no need for it anymore. But yeah, man, I'm very conscious of it, and I'm conscious also of our impact on the community as well. I don't want it to be misunderstood that that's what we promote, is alcoholism or that kind of lifestyle. I want really, all we were trying to do with Drink Champs is bring in front of the camera what we were doing behind the scenes in the studio, backstage, which was having fun, drinking, talking shit. And that's what we were trying to create with Drink Champs.
Yeah, bro. And anybody that's been in the industry, anybody that's spent 10 hours in a studio, anybody that spent knows the gangster ass conversations that go on and the fun
Yeah.
situations and the crazy shit that goes on in those things. And I think you guys said that you guys would say Drink Champ, who can drink the most or whatever
Yep.
in the
Yep.
game, right? So I think that it came from like a very authentic place, and that's probably why people are are so close, are feeling it so much, because you can tell that you and Nori have a genuine friendship, you know what I mean? And you can joke with each other and fuck around and have
Right.
opinions, but still stay close. And you guys soften up the artist, you know what I mean? And you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I love that.
Yeah. No, it's dope. And then going back to the drinking thing, I think it's super dope when we have sober artists.
You just
Um,
didn't you just have
Ben
somebody?
Staple right
Yeah,
now, he's this week, and yeah, he didn't drink anything. So, and
you don't
we
drink or smoke, huh? I don't think.
nah, or smoke, and which I love it. Like people, like we've actually had guests who want to come and they're like, oh, but I don't drink, and we're like, nah, it don't matter. Like we're gonna do the drinking. Our
Yeah,
crew's gonna do the drinking. You be you. Like if you don't, I think that's the best example to be set, to see someone on a show like Drink Champs being sober but having fun.
hell yeah.
And to me, that speaks volumes, to counter what I think, someone might misunderstand from Drink Champs.
Oh no, no, and I feel that totally. I mean, I think that that's the power of it, is that, and it's also promoting that you can have balance too. You can have,
Right.
and like for me, I thought I didn't know if I could have sex, if I could do anything sober, and I do all of them, and I enjoy it. And I hate when people like, oh, can I drink around you? It's okay. I'm like, no, man, I'll pour you a drink, bro. It's all good.
Right.
It's just a
Right.
decision that I don't do no more. And but I can have fun with all y'all while you're drinking, while I'm, and I smoke, so it's all good. You know what I mean? But I think what
Absolutely.
y'all are doing is amazing, and I really appreciate you taking the time out. Because I want to bring back what you're doing to the West Coast. So, I mean, I know that you guys are international, but there's like when people see you fucking with me, they're gonna be like, damn, this fool didn't forget, like, not, how it is. They're like, he
Nah,
didn't forget who he is or where he's from, because I mean, you're still giving interviews to people that are just coming up, bro. You don't got to do that.
no, I mean, look, man, I'm a mixtape DJ, and so I made my chops rushing, hitting up an artist, rushing them. Yo, can I get a drop? Can I get a freestyle? And they would do that. And if it wasn't for that, my mixtapes wouldn't have really taken off. So I feel like this is my way of giving back, kind of like how the artists were doing stuff for me. This is me. Now I have to do it. I have to give back as well. And I enjoy these conversations because it's like instant feedback from our audience as well, because the people that are usually interviewing me are also watching the show.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I think it's awesome. I just think it's big. I think you guys actually have I think you might be connected to Lifted Farms.
Yeah, I got something coming out with them. Crazy
Yeah,
Smokes. Yep.
yeah, so do I. Malinali, the goddess of rap.
Dope. I'm gonna be heading out there soon, man, to
Yeah.
launch it.
Oh, cool. Let me know. I know a lot of the same people. So because I live real close to San
Dope.
Francisco, so I can come out and I'll do some pictures and shit, take some shots or whatever, bro. You know what I mean? So I was
Yeah,
laughing like, damn, we got the same company and with each other.
yeah, and I also got a Michelada brand cup, Crazy Michi with the Go Michi Co. out there in LA. Those are my partners, man. So check for that. That's my LA roots. Like I told you, like I'm born in LA, so I got those roots as well.
Yeah, I'm a northerner, but I still have a 213 area code. So it's a trip. But again, bro,
No shit.
yeah. Thank you so much, man. If there's anything I can do for you, if you're ever on the West and you need anything, the Bay Area is kind of in LA. I got a lot of, just as you do, connections or whatever. So if you just ever need anything from security to photography to videography, I got you, bro.
Appreciate it, man. We'll definitely connect when I go out there for Lifted Farm for Crazy Smokes launch.
That's right. All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you.
All right, my bro. Thank you, man. Peace.
All right, bro. Peace.